Hello, my name is Matt Mossler. I wrote my IWA on the issue of violent video games and what effect they have on teenagers. Specifically, my research question is, to what extent does censorship of mature-rated video games by parents influence violent behavior among teenagers? I came to form this research question by reading the article from the stimulus material, 40% of Millennials Okay with Limiting Speech Offensive to Minorities by Jacob Puster. This article really shocked me because, as we all know, Millennials don't exactly like to give up anything, let alone their freedom of speech. Due to this, I decided to dive deeper into the adolescent brain. I found two very interesting factors that can mold a teenager's personality: music and video games. I decided to focus on video games because of the ongoing dispute of the effect of violent video games. This dispute really escalated after the Sandy Hook elementary school shootings, in which a 20-year-old man who was obsessed with a game called School Shooting shot and killed 20 students and 6 teachers. I came to the conclusion that violent acts can be caused by violent video games. However, there are other factors such as psychological disorders and environment that have a greater influence on teen violence. For example, Adam Lanza, the man involved in the Sandy Hook shootings, was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, a form of autism. This mental disability easily could explain why he opened fire on the school. The APA, or American Psychological Association, has been investigating the effect of violent video games on the brain for years. Mark Applebaum, task force chair for the APA, says that there's very limited research addressing whether violent video games actually cause people to commit acts of criminal violence. He rather argues that it is the accumulation of risk factors that leads to the larger psychological effects on teenagers. However, because there is no cure to most psychological disorders, Applebaum advises that the video game industry designs games with increased control over the amount of violence. This has significant implications as it gives parents increased censorship. However, it is more important to focus on fixing other risk factors such as the surrounding environment to lower teen violence rates. Adam D. Thierer, demographer and director of telecommunications studies at the Cato Institute in Washington, D.C., offers a unique solution to this problem. He suggests that all parents buy video game consoles for their children because he believes that video games are actually beneficial as long as there are no major risk factors present. This graph provided by Thierer shows a steady decline in teen violence rates as the video game industry has grown. Thierer attributes this to the fact that many teens use violent video games as a method of stress relief. He also says that if more teenagers play video games, they'll be more likely to use their knowledge by talking with one another rather than replicating it in real life, which can be very dangerous. However, there is one giant limitation. As you can see, the graph ends in 2005. However, I did more research and found a Huffington Post article that said the youth violence rates in 2013 were actually the lowest they'd ever been since 1970. Therefore, Thierer's claims do have justification and can be used as viable solutions to reduce teen violence even more. I also found many articles stating that the ESRB rating system is flawed. For example, there are many T for teen rated video games, such as the popular WWE series, that many argue should be rated M due to extreme violence. Jerry Bonner, a former employee of the ESRB, says that the raters never actually play any of the games that they rate, but rather just watch submitted videotapes or DVDs of someone else playing the game. This is a huge issue because the raters may not see every aspect of the game, leading them to rate it inaccurately. These complaints lead to my first solution, which is for the ESRB to become more stringent in their ratings. This would cause parents to become more cautious when buying video games for their children, as more games would be rated as M. My other solution is for parents to allow their children to play video games, but to limit the amount of time. This could reduce teen violence as it will prevent teenagers from becoming addicted to any games. My ultimate recommendation is for the ESRB to modify their rating system, because this would most likely also lead to my second solution, as parents would be more likely to limit the amount of time allowed for M-rated video games.